CJ Peterson. Next to me is author Michael Scott Clifton. Welcome to Book World, The Great Escape. Today we have author John Paul Ried, and his genre is fantasy inspired by D&D. We'll be talking to him shortly. First of all, we're talking to Mike. Mike, how is your author world stuff going?
It's starting to heat up. Starting to go to Comic Cons. Our first one of the year will be this Friday, this Saturday and Sunday, the Hot Springs Comic Con in Hot Springs, Arkansas. And it's been a while. We've been to that Comic Con before, but it's been several years ago. So we're kind of looking forward to it. And then Longview has an art walk, which they do quarterly, every 4 times a year. And the next one's coming up in June. And we're also looking forward to having a little mini vacation with my brother and his wife, who just happened to live in Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. So that my brother and his wife, and so we're looking forward to getting away and having a good time. And but the first Comic Con is this weekend, and can't wait to get started with it. So
awesome. Well, ours is heating up too. We have the first weekend in June. We're heading down to Conroe, Texas for our first one. We get to play around with my M3 Imagine Making Mischief sisters for Kimo Kawaii. Well, Lord willing, hopefully I will have it all. I'm going to be debuting my Star Wars cosplay. People are like, well, we're talking with my M3 sisters for our last hour-long one. And I'm like, there's no red-headed Jedi Knight. So I made one. And so I will be debuting my Jedi Knight. And Super Hubby decided he was going to do a cosplay one with me. So we're going to be doing that. And of course, we're going to have my service dog Tegan with me. And so she'll be with us. And then mark your calendars for East Texas Comic-Con in Longview, Texas will be mid-July. I believe that's the weekend of the 17th, 18th. Is that what that is?
Yep.
Check that.
18th and 19th.
18th and 19th is what East Texas Comic-Con in Longview, Texas. And then on the 29th and 30th of August down in Lufkin is Tiny Woods Comic-Con. So mark your calendars for that one as well. I'll be running the floor for both of those. And I believe Mike will be in those as well. So we have a few people checking in. So we have those saying hello for both of those. Hello, hello. So we have with us today a interesting genre. It is D&D inspired fantasy with John Paul Ried. Hello, how are you?
Hello, hi CJ. Hi Mike. I'm delighted to be here. And where would you like me to start?
Well, first start with I used to play D&D. So
Look,
I'm with you.
I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons since 1977 with my friends, and I quickly became the dungeon master. And over the years,
master is always listening. That's the first rule of thumb.
Yep. And over the years, I developed my very own campaign homebrew world. Basically, that's like a fantasy world with my own continents, my own multiverse, different planes and dimensions of existence. And I've been playing D&D for almost 50 years now, 49 years this year. Anyway, Dungeons and Dragons has always been a passion for me. And there's a very funny story, actually, how I got into writing my own fantasy books. Shall I continue, or did you want to ask me more about D&D?
No, go for it.
No, yeah.
Okay. Well, in 2015, 2012. Right. My first book came out in 2015. In 2012, I was running a Dungeons and Dragons campaign in Peoria, Illinois, where I lived at the time. And a friend of mine, Arthur Thompson, he invited his wife to play the game with us. Well, I was excited. I was like, wow, a newbie who's never played Dungeons and Dragons before. Well, I was so I was a little nervous because I didn't want her to be bored. I didn't want her to, I really wanted her to enjoy the game. You know what happened? The opposite happened. Laura loved the game. She took to it like a duck to water. She jumped into the game. She couldn't wait to play. Later on, I found out from my friend Arthur that it was Laura who'd be like, "Come on, Arthur, it's time to go to John's Dungeons and Dragons game. Come on, let's go."
It's fun. How can you not? I mean, come on.
Right. Anyway,
look at it like it's a game and it's nothing scary. I mean, it's fun. It can be fun.
It's absolutely it's fun. Anyway, Laura started going through all of my notes and all of my papers and all of my maps and all the stuff I had from previous D&D campaigns stretching back decades. And she found a short story that I had written almost on a whim. Anyway, she read it and she loved it. And she said, "John, this is great. Where's the rest of it?" And I'm sort of like, well, Laura, I'm sorry that's all I wrote on that. Well, there's an old saying that behind every great man, there's a great woman nagging, urging him on. Right. And Laura Thompson and her husband, they're very good friends of mine, dear friends. And Laura has been wonderful. I write a chapter, I send it to her. Of course, she does the usual proofreading and all the grammar, all the any mistakes I made. But every now and then, she would suggest a really good plot line. I'd be like, "Wow, that's great." But anyway, with her help, I got my first book published in 2015, and there's a story there too. Shall I just launch into that?
Sure, why not?
Go ahead.
Okay. I tried several publishers about. What I'm about to say may sound elitist. Anyone can self-publish, but I approached publishers trying to find someone who might be interested. And when my publisher in Arizona, Patty Holstrand, she actually had a company called Arizona Publishing. They were a mid-sized publishing company. And she published almost 300 books with this company, all on her spare time. Anyway, she's all but retired now. But anyway, when Patty Holstrand called me and asked me to meet at a Denny's, I was thrilled. I went and she was like, "John, I read your manuscript. It's terrific. We're going to cut it in half." Now, when she said that to me, at first, right in the Denny's, I began freaking out. "Oh no, half of my book is crap. And with that gone and just one half of it, no one will understand it. This is terrible. I can't believe she's doing this." After Patty calmed me down, she's like, No, John. Book 1 and book 2. So my first 2 books, my original manuscript was cut in half, and Patty showed me how to refine my techniques a bit, and they fit perfectly together as my first 2 books. Now, okay, I can start listing all of my books. Patty tries to keep me to 1 book a year, and of course, COVID set everybody off a year or 2. But my first book, Reckless Ambitions, came out in 2015. My second book, Capricious Deities, came out in 2016. My third book, Pivotal Ruckus, came out in 2017. My fourth book, Academic Mayhem, came out 2018. Now, I think it was 2019, my 5th book, Unexpected Entanglements, came out. But then, of course, with COVID and everything, I was delayed. Well, everyone was for like a couple of years. I think after Unexpected Entanglements, I think my 6th book, I had to think a minute. My 6th book came out in 2022, Twisted Timeline. My 7th book came out in 2023, the 2023 Chosen Destinies. And then now I'm working on book 8, which I expect to have out this year. And that will be called Enlightened Despot. Anyway, but yes, Patty and Laura have been with me every step of the way. And I would tell anyone who's getting into publishing or getting into writing their own books, I would tell everybody, let others proofread your work.
Oh yeah.
Some people have trouble letting go of their work. Oh, it's perfect. Can't you just publish it as it is? No. And so I got to say, Patty Holstrom showed me how to take 3 or 4 paragraphs and shrink them down to just one paragraph without losing a single bit of content or plot. And I'm very proud of what we've been doing. And all of this is based, all of my books are set in my Dungeons and Dragons campaign homebrew world. Now, what does that mean? I've developed 3 continents already, with a friend of mine helping me with the computerization. They are all in my books. If I should have thought of it, I could have brought over a big poster map. It's a little bit out of reach here, but the maps that I created and designed everything on the maps, but my friend Steve Crompton, he helped me streamline everything into gray, black, and white. Why? Easy for copying in books. And again, one other person I want to thank publicly, Chris Ennett. He is Mr. Chris Ennett. He is a marvelous artist. He writes comic book covers, or he's done DC and Marvel, but he's more into independent comic books like Zenescope Comics and Lady Death Comics. Chris Ennett is a marvelous, marvelous author, and I commissioned him to do my cover art because, quite frankly, everybody, I can't draw a straight line to save my life. I can write books, I can do dialogue, I can create engaging characters, but I am not an artist.
So, John, let me ask you this. So you have 8 books published, soon to be 9th, correct?
Yes, 7 books published,
7
soon
books
to be
published,
8.
soon to be 8. So
I already have a project in mind for book 9, but yes.
So,
Yeah.
what have you learned in this writing journey of yours from your first book to the book that you're working on now?
Well, I've learned.
What if you could condense that, like someone's watching the podcast and maybe they're starting out? What would you tell them you have learned to avoid, and what things maybe you shouldn't? You've already said, proofreading would be important, but what else have you learned?
Well, I've learned a great deal about this, and I think I can sum it up in, I'll say 2 points, but I may be able to come up with another one. My first point is you have got to love what you are doing. Why? Because here's a story. When my 3rd book, Pivotal Ruckus, was just about to be printed, I got a frantic phone call from Patty Holstrom. John, and by the way, it was at 2 a.m. So at first I was thinking, oh my God, who died, right? Anyway, I answered the phone and Patty's on the phone. John, we go to press and we print Pivotal Ruckus at 7 a.m., but the printer made a horrible mistake. They switched chapters 4 and 6 and deleted 5 completely. Here is what they sent me for the print copy. Can you please fix everything in chapters 4 and 6, and completely rewrite chapter 5. So I had to get up at 2 a.m, grab my laptop and get on. And believe it or not, I was finished by 5 a.m. So I called Patty, who was still up and waiting for me. I said, Patty, all set. Here you go, zap. She sent it to the printers. Everything was printed at 7 a.m. Yay! But oh boy, you better love what you're writing about. I mean, really love it, be fanatical about it, because when you have to get up at 2 a.m. and suddenly deal with a crisis, you can't just roll over in bed and say, "Oh, I'll worry about it later." Right. Second point I'd like to make. With all my writing, it's wonderful to share what you think and what the characters it's it's so easy to say, oh my God, everyone's going to hate my books. They're not very good. I don't know. No, 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 no. If you're passionate about what you're doing, you will make amazing points in your writing that you can share with people. And people will be thinking like, wow, I never looked at it that way before. And I myself, Mike, I try to go for realistic fantasy. Hey, if I suddenly had a magic wand and could do spells, what would I do? Oh, sure, create some gold, or try to conquer a kingdom, or try to impress a lady. There are lots of, again, I try to do realistic fantasy. My characters have perfectly sensible and understandable motivations. And, well, a third point. Excuse me. When I write, it's so important that the proofreading is crucial. A lot of authors get hung up when publishers and editors take your book and try to rewrite it. And you know what? Usually they do it for very good reasons. Patty Holstrand has never once changed anything with my plots or my thoughts or my storyline, right? But she's shown me how to shorten, tighten, make everything better and economically faster. Now, so yes, I say to everybody, sometimes the hardest thing in the world is letting your beautiful manuscript that you poured everything into, letting that go so that editors and proofreaders can help make it better, And finally, for one reason why I love Dungeons and Dragons so much is I never have any writer's block. Dungeons and Dragons, I have decades of stories, of campaign adventures, of characters doing really, really stupid things. And it's like, oh my God, how did I get myself in this situation? Better yet, how do we get out of it? Right.
All the dice.
I mean, I can say I never have writer's block. What's different about my books? Well, okay, they're set in my own created world. And yes, I've got politics and conspiracies and assassinations that would rival anything you'd see on Game of Thrones. And I've got stuff that would match anything you might find in Harry Potter. But they're different. And I admit, my books are classified for young adults, usually 11 and up, mainly because I do have some intensive battle scenes and I do mention some social issues. I mean, Mike, CJ, elves and humans having children together. Oh my God, what is the world coming to? Right? So I try to have fun in every book. I've got romance, I've got comedy, I've got serious, I've got oh my God, how do we get out of this? What do we do? And I even have some characters who, with the best of intentions, make huge blunders. The old saying, the road to heck is paved with good intentions. Anyway, and oh goodness, my second book, Capricious Deities, that's a lot like the Trojan War, with all those pesky immortal deities interfering with the silly mortals down there. Oh, let's see if this will help, and usually it doesn't. These are just some of the points that I would share with any writer. I mean, whatever your genre, whether it's westerns, crime novels, cyberpunk, and or whatever your genre is, you got to really love what you're doing. Now, I've talked an awful lot here. Do you have questions?
Sure.
No. I'll talk the whole podcast if you let me.
Well, when you got moving and you're going through different stories and stuff, you kind of have to be schizophrenic as an author. Let's face it.
Well,
you kind of do.
Yes.
We've learned that through being that way. As a dungeon master, you kind of have to do the same thing. When you're going through it and you're creating it, when you're creating your stories. How do you do that? Because I've never done that from the dungeon master side.
Okay. My publisher, Patty Holstrom, said it best. When you're writing, you don't tell the reader things, you
Mhm.
show the reader things.
Right.
Show, not tell. What does this mean? Instead of having 3 or 4 pages read like a textbook, here's the history of the Palamaran Empire. Instead, you get characters to talk about this. You get a character saying, "Wow, I wonder who built this place," and then character B responds, "Emperor Simon the First, 300 years ago." How do you know that? Well, it's carved right there on the wall, don't you see? But again, you show the readers stuff, not tell the readers stuff. I mean, nonfiction is almost easier to write because then you can tell your readers this is fact, this is fact, this is fact. In fiction, you have to show the readers what you're talking about and how things work. So,
You have to paint a
now
picture.
what?
You have to paint a picture. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Painting a picture, show the readers stuff, not tell them. Another point. When I write, I'm okay. I noticed a real problem when I was writing. How do you present a character as good, or the good guy, the one you should keep your eye on and follow, and what really makes a villain nowadays, a nasty, someone you want your readers to hate this guy or gal, whatever. Well, there are really only 2 ways now to describe evil with characters. Let's face it, some good characters nowadays, they actually kill more people than the bad characters. So, okay, one, you got to threaten children when a character is like, aha, we're gonna kill all these children hostages because we think we have to, right? You're reading that, you're like, okay, I don't like this villain. He's a nasty, he's a bad guy. The second way is, well, quite frankly, if the if a villain is like, haha, I wonder if I can have my way with this princess before I kill her. Of course, you instantly think aha, that's a bad guy, that's a nasty, that's a guy we want to see get clobbered. And again, so these are just some of the problems I've had because I think the last thing you want in a villain is to be so noble and so fair and so honest that all of a sudden you're rooting for the villain. Now I do that occasionally, but I admit I'm a sucker for happy endings. Now, most of my books, they do have happy endings or at least resolved endings. And that's one thing I'm very proud about my books, Mike, CJ. All of my books can be read interchangeably, independently. That means you don't have to read them in order, and I never leave anybody with a cliffhanger. You're like, oh, I got to buy book 2 to find out what happened in book 1, or all of my books are standalone, and I'm very proud of that. Okay, again,
Yeah, mine aren't.
what would you like to know?
Mine are cliffhangers have to be in order.
So they're standalone novels,
Yeah.
but let me make sure I understand this. They're standalone novels, but
Yes.
because they share the same common world, are
Yep.
they
Many some
so they're-
characters
the
cross
setting-
over from one
yeah.
book to another. Others, yeah, they're connected, but you don't have to read one to understand what's going on in the other one. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Right. The setting's the same, the world's the same, just the characters within it and their life or the crisis or whatever it is you're describing is different. So
Right.
So what you're saying is if I wanted to get one of your books and read it, it really wouldn't matter which one I first started out with because the story in that book will kind of explain the world, but it also means that if you want to read another book that
Yeah.
that really, again, only the plot and maybe the characters have changed, but everything else is the same. So that's
Right.
yeah.
So it doesn't matter. The world is described in all of them. Is that my understanding?
Right. Right. Or that part of the world is described. Exactly. I good heavens, and I in just my main continent, I've got I've got the Palamaran Empire, then I've got 11 city states, and each city state has its own culture. The Stargazer City is my Paris, Lario is my Mexico City, um, Tabraz is my Beijing, Tokyo, Bangkok City. Again, and I each book has its own emphasis, their own different setting.
So
And of course, I've got what?
if you came across a reader and they ask
Right.
you, because I get asked this a lot, and I know CJ does as well. Okay, you have 8, 9, 10. Of course, in CJ's case, 20-something books. Which one would you recommend that I start with first? I know CJ's heard that. I've heard it. So if someone came up and asked you that, what would you tell them?
Guess what? I can do this in 2 minutes. Time me. Ready? Book 1, Reckless Ambitions. That is my Game of Thrones-like book. Plots, conspiracies. A beloved emperor dies, leaving 4 ambitious sons to follow him. A cleric, a fighter, a magic user, and a thief. Excuse me, businessman. My second book, Capricious Deities. That, if you like the Trojan War with those awesome and powerful deities interfering with those silly mortals when they should just stay out of things, you'd like Capricious Deities. Pivotal Ruckus. Wooden ships, iron men, and nasty dragons. If you like sea fights, sea battles, ocean battles, with dragons flying around, destroying clipper ships, you would definitely like Pivotal Ruckus. Academic Mayhem. Coming of age story. A lovely little 7-year-old girl is playing with her friends by an abandoned mine shaft, and I'm sure you can see where this is going. And of course, her grandfather's like dusting off his old armor. Come on, guys, we gotta rescue my granddaughter. Come on, we gotta go down there and fight those monsters and rescue my granddaughter. Come on, come on, come on. Right. That's academic mayhem, among other plots. My fifth book, Unexpected Entanglements. That is my attempt at a trashy romance. Paula Abdul said it best in her song, Opposites Attract. So try to imagine a noble, heroic, chivalrous, do-gooder, bit of a self-righteous paladin and a wicked, evil, nasty, amoral, anti-paladin. Her attitude is, I have to kill 1 billion people to get what I want. Well, tough luck on them. And try to imagine these two who should instantly hate and want to destroy each other on sight. Try to imagine them falling in love. And my sixth book, Twisted Timeline, that is a wonderful book. It's a time travel story. My publisher was so enamored with one of my earlier characters in my first books. Gentle old man, Dr. Newmel. He grows all of his poisons, his remedies, in the Imperial Palace Garden. And naturally, he's the spy master for the Palamaran Empire. Anyway, my publisher was so enraptured with this character. Hey, John, can you give me a time travel story where this old man is now a young hotshot teenager running around Paladon City, getting in all sorts of trouble? And the plot's perfect for this book. Oh, great. What could possibly go wrong? We're sending a young, reckless, immature, puerile teenager back in time to rescue another reckless, idiot, silly teenager. What could possibly go wrong? And finally, my last book, Chosen Destinies. You don't think I'd leave you all hanging on the 7-year-old little girl, huh? Well, I'll confess that my 7th book, Chosen Destinies, now she's all grown up, having her own adventures. But believe it or not, I didn't spoil the entire plot of my 4th book, Academic Mayhem. But again, I never have writer's block. I've got tons of stuff to write about.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. You've been a treat. Appreciate you. But to learn more, you can actually check him out. He is on Facebook, and he is on not on Instagram. You're on Facebook, and you are on what?
Twitter.
Twitter,
and LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
and LinkedIn.
And I wanted to quickly mention, I believe in the next 2 months, I will have a brand new website out, and I'll even start off with another Kickstarter for book 8 or book 9.
Awesome.
And how much time do we have?
We're over time.
Oh,
But
sorry.
your link is actually scrolling across the bottom, and it is actually it's in the chat.
Yeah.
Check it out. But you can check out John on Facebook, and
Anyone can find me on Facebook and send me a private message, and I'll be happy to accommodate them, and we can do transactions. Yep, a whole shebang.
Awesome. Well, John, thank you so much, and you can check out his books. Where can they find you?
Oh, Facebook, Imaginative Palomar Readers Group, and you can also find me on the Dungeon Masters Secret Society. That's a Facebook group I started 6 years ago. I never dreamed it would grow to over 6,000 members. Well,
Okay.
And good heavens, thank you both so very much for having me on the program. I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for letting me go overtime. I appreciate it.
Okay, awesome. Next, we're going to have Mary Jane Owens, who'll be talking cozy apocalyptic. You wouldn't think they go together, and neither do we. We'll find out more about it next week. 4 o'clock.